when I turn up, you know I'm on my. Yes, I'm on my. Yes, I'm on my.
More than business advice, it's important to provide nourishment to the earth.
What are you doing?
Good, are you?
Good, man. Well, running late, clearly. One thing that I've learned when I was really young in sales, and I've used it ever since, is an acronym that I use to just use it throughout my sales process, and the majority of it throughout the closing process. It's called FUJI, F-U.J.I. Fear of loss, urgency, Jones effect, and indifference. That is all you need to close any sale.
Keeping up with the Joneses?
Keeping up with the Joneses. I today probably sell 90% of my sales through indifference because I've just gotten so fucking good at it. For my own good a lot of the times. Your closing ratio should go through.
What do you mean by indifference?
Indifference, not really caring what the outcome is.
Okay.
Remember you said try to mess up the sale?
Yeah.
It's the opposite of needing. It's the opposite of needing something to happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't mean you have a chip on your shoulder, and you're like, oh, no, fuck, he works with me or not. No, it's like it's all good. If this doesn't happen, something else will. Like it's full indifference, not angst or neediness or desperation. It's just full, just all good.
I'm playing indifference a lot of the times. I've noticed people will try and do it to me on the call, and I just laugh because I know what they're doing. But they'll come from a point of arrogance. You have to come from a point of like where I really, truly, I'm here to help you, and I don't give a shit what your decision is.
Sales is us. It's win-win. It's friends. It's not a fucking versus thing.
No, do this in person. Do this 100% in person. Let's go knock on the door. One of the things I helped a buddy do back when we were in door-to-door sales, he had a fencing company. So what we did is we got him to fence one of the end houses for free. And then we literally would go door to door after that. And so once you start one end of the house, the one guy's house has half a fence, and another half fence.
That's actually brilliant. That's
and
a great
literally
business.
Jones affect the entire street to get fences done.
You got half of good friends for free.
Yeah.
And that contractor loves you because he doesn't have to go all over the city, bump, like
No.
just
That's a brilliant business.
My buddy runs that exact business.
That's fucking smart.
I didn't think how smart that is.
And then that also creates, not only it does if you look at it, Jones effect, but it also creates you can also create urgency because you're going to give them a discounted program because the guy's already putting in the fence. But if he leaves and has to come back, then your price goes up. And then the fear of loss all goes into each other.
Scarcity.
It's scarcity, yeah. Fear of loss, you're going to lose out.
They're going to lose out, but you don't care if they do. You prefer they didn't, but you have no emotional reaction whether or not. And fear of loss can even be broken. You can be fear of loss of status. Remember, there's different ways that people can have their status lowered in society. Looking stupid to other people around them, or important to them, and feeling stupid about like a decision they made. And so, not having a fence or whatever that is, it's like they would look stupid compared to everybody else in their neighborhood, and that is a fear of loss of their own status. So there's different fear of loss of a good deal, fear of loss of status.
Just going on that note of like the status, because this was something that came up on the sales call I had. It was the first time I've had that experience where the guy was really concerned about what the other people in his organization would think, because he sort of built it from the ground up sort of thing. He's a very like, grew up on the farm kind of guy, you know what I mean? So he values the opinion of his like accountants and all these other people. So some of his fear was that like, I want to do it, I'm worried these people are going to be. So what would you do for someone when like their focus is on the status of other people? What would you say to something like that?
Then I just reframe it. You're about to create something that all of your friends should actually pay attention to.
Because the status, he's saying status is attached to the people around him. Well, that's everybody in the world. So the true question is, what status trigger does he have that you can use and flip, like you just said, against him? Does he believe, is his status trigger intelligence? If so, well then show how you're going to be looked at smart until all your friends for doing this. Or is the status trigger a sense of community and equalness? Well then show how that project is going to do that for them. Or if it's power and control, then show how you're going to look more powerful to your friends if they do that. So find out what his status trigger is and then flip it around as the reason.
And no matter the answer, you just got to figure out what he wants. The answer is always the same. So just figure out what his status in his entire friendship circle or whatever close circle it would be, and then hit that pinpoint.
People got money and they're willing to invest it. Like they have a lot of fucking money. And the best investments you get is a GIC or RRSP. Those people aren't invested in your best interest. They're just trying to move up the ranks. It's crazy. Like you can make a lot of money off connecting people.
Think of companies who have nerds who wouldn't have that good social skills and will do it. Like for example, VR. All the VR, the tech, all the crazy shit that's exploding there. They would love to have you go out and get money for them, for their projects.
Yeah.
And the venture capitalists and all that would love to just give it.
How many of you guys are comfortable selling 5 figures or more contracts on one call? How many of you guys need some help selling 5 figures or more on one call? What are your biggest hurdles do you think selling 5 figures would be? Start this one.
I think first of all, you have to be in the right market. I mean, we already talked about that. You have to be with somebody who's got the money to do it. And you're talking about on the phone. On the phone, it's sometimes difficult to relay the value. I just love face-to-face a lot more.
Face-to-face, you can read emotion.
Yeah, and I'm way better in person, body language and all that.
Yeah.
Getting across with the value I can get, that's the most difficult thing for me.
One 10-second thing about that, the way that I've done it, because I'm not the best on the phone either, but I've made a ridiculous amount of money from closing deals on the phone, is because I made sure that value is relayed in advance.
Yeah.
The heavy lifting and the work is done through positioning, through maybe results I've gotten to people, or just, all the content of the articles. The work is done in advance, 90% of it, so that the conversation is starting from without me having to prove myself necessarily, but it's just the conversation between two people. There's more of it's most of the work is done.
Yeah.
And it's less of a conversation of prove to me, it's more of a conversation of, okay, what we got to do.
Yeah.
I work in sales right now, so just relating this to like the gym, it's like they come in, I put them on a 7-day pass, I talk about their goals, how our gym can help them get to there, the emotional, and then the quantitative goal, so like the emotional behind why they want to reach whatever goal it is, and then the number, so they have a guide or a timeline, and then they have a 7-day pass, and then I call them. Like, I'm really good at building rapport, but it's just the wording around what I'm gonna say in terms of my business.
The thing that happens most often for me is, and I shoot myself in the foot because I keep talking. I need to learn when to shut up.
Yeah, I could literally teach you one thing: is ask the price and shut up.
Yeah.
Fuck up. I've been on sales calls with Matt. Matt will tell you, we've been on sales calls, and I've literally had this Skype call go quiet for like a minute, not saying a word. And I'm like, Matt, shut up. I'm like typing on Skype.
The amount of times he like I'm messaging him, did you really just say that? Like, unbelievable. The amount of quotes and people, just the way that he does it. I'm not a salesperson, so for me viewing it, it all seems so counterintuitive. The way that he attacks the sale and everything, where I'm like, I don't know how this works, but just keep going, because it always does. I'm not sure what it is. Really, not my department, but it always blows my mind. He can ask for pretty much anything, and nobody ever blinks at it, ever.
I literally just call. I just make the situation as awkward as it can be. I'm gonna say yes. Yeah. That's 9 out of 10 times. A lot of the times, what'll end up happening is when you're on a call, 4 figures, 5 figures, as long as it's $5,000 or more, $2,500 or more on the phone, like literally all you have to say to them is, so let's get started. I've tested this where you go, are you ready to get started versus let's get started. It's a huge difference.
The talking in circles is just you beating around the bush and slowly proving more and more how insecure you are about it.
One thing too is coming from experience is when you put an hourly rate in there and they try to justify it in their head, and they go back and forth, especially if you have clients that just have like insane amount of communications. They just want to talk to you 400 times a day. Your resentment level will just go through the roof. So confidence and conviction. Conviction is the other one that I like to say. Confidence is more of an external thing. Conviction is more of an internal thing. The number one reason most people fail in sales is because they're not fully convicted internally. And it goes back, they both play into each other a lot of the times. People, even though they're two separate things, they both play into each other. When you're selling and if you're on a call, you have to even if you're on a call and I'm like, right now I'm slunched over, and if I took a call right now, but versus if I got just straight up, physically, I feel confident. Internally, I gotta feel convicted to portray the price points that I want to get. A lot of you guys that are, wanting to go get your first sale, first client, whatever it is, you may have never sold them, before, you may have never sold one before, but as long as you fully believe in yourself and you're convicted in yourself that you can deliver 10 times the value that you're charging them, there's no reason to why you can't be seeing that and coming across that in person or on the phone.
If you can't believe in yourself because you don't have enough reference experiences to be able to prove that, you can believe in the value of the product and you can rest on that to draw on that as your confidence, even if you don't have confidence in your abilities. And the product alone and the benefits of that can sell you through. You don't have to believe in yourself. You can just believe in the product so much.
Knowing your market inside out. I remember the last time I got into an objection battle with a client on a call. And even if it's an objection battle, it's usually something along the lines of they want a guarantee on like 1-to-1 ROI in the first month. Like that's kind of stuff that people will, like that's kind of the objections that I'll get into. And I literally say to them, if you're expecting 1-to-1 guarantee because of another agent, and I'll call it out because I knew that because the questions that were coming to me from them they were trying to play us against another agency. And they never said it once, but the way that the positioning that was coming from them was, the way they're trying to position the call was, oh, we want a 1-to-1 guarantee and we'll go with you in a heartbeat. And I literally said to them on the phone, I'm like, if you want a 1-to-1 guarantee because that's what your other agencies that you guys are shopping us against is saying to you, you may as well go work with them because you'll be back to us in 30 to 60 days for us to take you on as a client. 2 seconds after that call, we had the credit card information in my email box.
That's amazing. Because objections are just questions, guys. So really, they're just asking the question, like, can we get 1-to-1 guarantee? Can we get a 1-to-1 guarantee from you? And he was basically like, you just can't do that. It doesn't work. Objections are just questions.
The art of reframing and understanding how to reframe anything that's said to you, it will save you a fuckload of time. One great book, if you guys haven't read it, in sales, and I suggest every single one of you read it, it's called Spin Sell.
Reframing is like everything I do. If you guys follow my Facebook posts, all I do is reframe shit. All I do is say one like assumed like truth, and I just say, what if that's completely opposite? Or what if believing that is the reason why it's creating something that you believe that's bullshit? Like reframing is probably the only tools that I use to change my life. It's like the only thing. It's like you just see something and you're like, oh no, it's actually this, or it can be this, or it can be this.
It's literally like, okay, if someone says something to you, take a second and don't take what they're saying to you. Think about what they're actually saying. Find the deeper meaning to what they're actually saying, and turn around and answer that. Don't answer the actual question.